Good evening and welcome to the Stockbridge Selectmen's meeting for May 16th, 2024. I'm going to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. National Grid poll hearing, I move that we open the hearing to consider the petition of National Grid to install one pole on Lincoln Road, 533 feet south of intersection with Old Colonial Lane. Also permission to lay and maintain underground lateral cables and wires for making connections. Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote.
Patrick, aye.
Aye, Chuck.
Hi, Jamie.
National Grid, you there?
Yes, sir. Here I am, Rob Green, present.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. So this is simple, just one single pole with an anchor to support that pole across the street. So it's something that we just call a stub pole 249-84. It's just to support some opposite tensions that current pole has on the other side of the road. That's all
Okay.
that is for.
Any questions from the board?
Yeah, what's the status of the partially down pole that's over by the Memorial Bridge by the Houstonic River?
Not part of this.
Yeah, well, I can make a motion to condition this pole hearing, this pole approval based on them dealing with this thing that's been down for a year. So I'd like to make it part of this.
It might not be their pole.
Yeah, we don't know whose pole it is.
Well, they say it's not theirs and Spectrum says it's not theirs and it's been going on for a year and as we've discussed. I would just like to have an answer. What's the status of it? Does it,
It has nothing to do with it.
It's
Correct.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I don't have any other information other than the information for this poll set here.
uh-huh. Okay. That's my only question.
Any questions from from the public? Any comments opposed? Seeing none, I make the motion. We approve the,
All right, to close the hearing.
make a motion to close the hearing.
Hi, Patrick.
Second,
Second. Hi, Patrick.
roll call.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Chuck. I make a motion that we accept the application for the poll. Got a second?
Thank you very much, Board of Selectmen. Thank you so much for your time.
All those in favor?
Hi, Patrick.
Hi, Chuck.
Hi, Jamie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take action on one-day alcohol license for Chesterwood, June 18th, June 8th, June 12th, June 13th, June 19th, June 22nd, June 26th, and June 29th. Rockwood Museum for June 8th and the Botanical Garden for May 22nd.
Second.
All those in favor?
Hi.
Hi.
Take action on the meeting minutes for April 4th, April 18th, and May 2nd.
Second.
All those in favor?
Hi.
And what everybody's here for, repair or replacement of suspension bridge at the waterfall, the spillway at the Stockbridge Bowl. So,
So the board has information in front of them about the bridge and concerns. So concerns were raised about the safety of the bridge. I did speak with our building inspector about it. Obviously, the bridge does not meet the criteria for safe rails for a bridge that has a drop of this distance on it. I also sent it over to our loss control specialists that work with Maya, our insurance company. We bring them in regularly to investigate issues around the town. Before this one, it resulted us putting poles up at the transfer station because we didn't have proper fall protection there. And their recommendation was that we bring in a structural engineer to examine the bridge and the rest. So, because it did not appear to have proper guardrails and has the potential for serious injury or death. So based on that, we have closed the bridge. Since then, we have been investigating some alternatives of what could replace the bridge. We have a quote from Bridge Brothers about an aluminum bridge that would be tied into the two edges of the dam at the spillway. That one was 32,000. We also had one from CMI Gator Bridges, which is 20,000 for a replacement aluminum bridge over there. We're still waiting to get one more quote in, but obviously one of the questions
Oh,
would
but then
be
there's freight.
what type, right? It's 16,915,
Oh, I
3,800,
see.
so it's approximately $20,000. One of the questions is what type of bridge would we be looking for? I know I did find a company that can do custom wooden bridges, but they would have to be designed and engineered in order to put it up. And that the aluminum bridges would be a much quicker turnaround, and just concerned as to what direction we go at this point with this. I did want to note for the board that we originally had $30,000 earmarked from ARPA funds earmarked for the playground at Pinewood. They've gone a different direction and they're using the 10,000 from the Affordable Housing Trust to do a residential structure instead of a commercial structure. So the board could use the 30,000 of ARPA funds as monies to replace this bridge. So I turn that over to the board at this point. Public comment or your
Okay,
comments or concerns?
This was brought to our attention not long ago, and we jumped on it. We didn't let this drag. Mike did a great job. It's probably one of our fastest projects we got moving. So I'd like to get your public comments on if your bridge is fine with you guys. Yeah, it's,
Want to come up?
yeah, gonna have to.
Thank you, Don Chabon, Lake Drive. That bridge is used a lot. Fishermen come there all the time. There's hikers going across there. It's very popular. It might not be one of the most publicized of our projects, but it's certainly well used. And I would encourage the board to, as expeditiously as possible, replace the existing bridge. There are trail bridges. Now, I heard the quotes and I wouldn't dispute them, but there are trail bridges and I got $10,000 for a 20-foot, which would mean $15,000 for a 30-foot. It's 30 foot. But I would defer to the engineers and to the experts on exactly the type. There are very attractive trail bridges, which would go in, which would fit in that area. I think that's a very wise, something worth looking at.
Sorry, is it all right if I?
Yes.
Where'd you get because these are aluminum trail bridges. They're actually
Yeah,
set up for that. Is yours an aluminum one or is it a wood?
yeah, I Googled, when in doubt, Google it.
Yes,
And,
Like Google
yeah,
Head.
that's what I think.
right. Bridge Brothers is one of the ones, when I Googled trail bridges, came right up, CMI company, some others. So, yes, that's.
Not included, it would probably be removal of the old bridge, which is probably going to be a cost factor as well, which.
I think I
You included that?
defer that later to our highway, whether or not they can get it out themselves, but we haven't looked at that. We've just looked at replacements, and even then it's gonna take, for at least 4 weeks to get it here. So in the meantime, we'd figure out how to dismantle the bridge in the meantime while we order a new one and have it delivered.
Yeah, the only thing I would do is encourage you to do it as expeditiously as possible. It is used very actively, and thank you very much. Anything
Can
else?
I make a comment?
Yeah, come on up.
I know, but it's late, so I know that I spoke to Michael about this, but is there any way you could use your engineers to just replace the railings and not the whole bridge? Because an aluminum bridge would be really ugly there. And the bridge itself it seems to be fine. It's just the railings that are the problem.
I'm personally not aware of any way to attach rails that would have the proper pedestrian load in order for people to lean on the rails and others to do it on the bridge that's there right now. So
I mean, if you have engineers, they have to be able to work something like that out. It doesn't sound like a difficult thing to do.
I would actually counter, I think, using the existing bridge to try to engineer something, it would be much harder than just replacing the bridge. But there are, like I said, there are options of designing a wooden trail bridge, but we're not going to get it in, I guess it's the expeditiously, if we want it done.
Probably take most of the summer to do a wood bridge,
Yeah, that's my understanding. So,
design it and have it built.
yeah, I don't know. You know, we haven't engaged an engineer. What we've engaged right now are a couple bridge companies for just replacement bridge. We sent them pictures of the site and the rest. One of them went, oh my God, yeah, that's not safe. And right away they, you know, and we asked them to propose bridges back to us. So I can put in for the wooden design and see where it comes in at and how long. But that's part of what we're discussing here is how fast do we want to try to replace it? What's the rest? Because the rails themselves have to be able to take a load based on the I'm trying to remember that, AASHTO 90 design, which is the design that a bridge has to be designed to be
Well,
used.
if you could look at a wooden one, that would be good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody on Zoom?
Do you have any thoughts on?
I'm Leslie Alfredo. I live on Quiet Knoll Road. First of all, thank you for addressing this. As you know, Quiet Knoll Road is a dead end. And for those of us that walk or run, now that the Curtisville Bridge is not accessible, there's no way for us to get to quieter roads to walk or run. We're constantly on Route 183. There's a lot of traffic. It's very busy. So that bridge, the fishing bridge, has been a place for us to cross over and be a lot safer, or feel a lot safer. I think an aluminum bridge is fine, especially if it's gonna, you know, expedite it getting fixed. I think once it's in place, it really won't be noticeable whether it stands out or not. I think it'll blend into the, you know, into the landscape. And I agree that there's a ton of people that use that bridge. You know, I've been over that way recently, just looking to see if it's opened back up. And there's fishermen stuck on one side, not able to get to the other side. So it's not just us neighbors who want to use our neighborhood and access quieter roads. It's a lot of people using it. So I'm all for aluminum bridge getting done as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Maybe you could paint the aluminum bridge so it's not so shiny.
Well,
There are
to be honest, I know that was a question asked of our highway foreman, superintendent. And that's, what's it called? Oh, powder coat. That a powder coat could be applied, but that's an additional 11,000 to powder coat it. And so we did look at that as one of the options.
I just wanted to add, I forgot to mention, one of the concerns is that there is no now legal access to the sluice gate and to the berm, which is that far side of the bridge. Come from the Interlaken side, it's my understanding that's all private property. And the only way to get to the sluice gate, which controls the level of Stockbridge pole, has been over the bridge. I presume an exception could be made for people to cross the bridge under the existing bridge in an emergency situation. That's one of the reasons I feel that it needs to be looked at expeditiously. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Yeah, I would say that right now, that's not a concern due to the fact that we bring our mowers in from the other side anyways. And if we had to cross, we also have hip boots and the rest where they could just cross at the bottom if needed, or temporary across the bridge during an emergency.
Jim Obenheim, 1A Quiet Knoll Road. So timing, like a lot of things that we see in town take a long time. Can we have a guaranteed of a certain amount of time so we're not, looking for a alternate route or climbing underneath the barricade that's there. Yeah, we have more than just this bridge out in Carterville.
So what I'd say is first, I would need the board to appropriate the ARPA funds, which then that takes care of one issue. We need to get one more quote in to meet our legal obligation under procurement law, which we're working on getting one more quote in. Right now, I know that the low quote would allow us at 20,000 to replace it, so we could have it ordered and delivered as quickly as possible. And get it here. And in the meantime, we do the prep work to prepare the site for it. Probably realistically, to get the next quote in, get everything 4 to 6 weeks, we think we can have another bridge in place. And that's about as fast as I think we can get it done.
Can we accept that?
You have a choice?
I don't think we do, but if we could get it moving along and
Push it as fast as we can.
and paperwork, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any comments from the board?
A couple. How long has the current bridge been in place? The exact wooden bridge we have now?
Comment on that for 55 years.
Me too.
Yeah,
I've been
55
coming
years.
as a kid.
And how many accidents have there been on that bridge?
Well, it doesn't.
Well, nobody really knows because we're not there all the time.
Oh, I'm sorry, at least since 1963 or 4.
But I mean, have there ever been any accidents? We're not aware
It's
of it.
always been the same bridge,
Right.
and it's always been since we've ever been here, which is the 60s.
I mean, my sense is that with a 55-year history of the bridge in place, we should accept a little bit of risk and give people access to their bridge while we figure this one out tonight. I don't see any reason why after 55 years we're doing it.
No, we
Legally,
can't. We've taken pictures. We've
So a
taken
good
pictures.
comparison to this would be, just because you've never been in an auto accident, do you take your seatbelts out of your car? You've been made aware of it in writing. Yes, the select board can make a decision to open the bridge if it wants. Understand that our insurance company has weighed in on it, the rest, and that basically whether or not it could lead to liability issues that we could not potentially be covered. Is that a risk? It's always a risk versus reward in any scenario that you have. Somebody falls over and it's known that the bridge was deemed to be not safe.
I understand.
How we deal with the legal fallout of it. And I would not advise the
No.
board, now that you've been made aware, it's happened in writing, it's been checked with the building inspector and our insurance company. You are making a call now to put the town at, if something was to happen. The legal defense around it would be, yeah, we already knew there was an issue. So just, I caution the board on that decision. I think the best thing right now is to move as quickly as possible to get a replacement in place. But it's ultimately your decision.
well, we can't open it.
We could. You just said we could.
Well, we,
It's been open for 55 years and for 6 weeks or 8 weeks. And the other thing is the points made tonight, I mean, I'd rather see a wooden bridge. I'd rather see something that looks nice. And now we're given this terrible choice between this ugly aluminum thing that we get in place in 4 weeks and something that might be nicer and maybe not more expensive because we're in a hurry to rush it so that folks have access to recreation.
Wood rats,
What?
wood rats.
so
What about the existing bridge with a warning sign? I mean, that's,
Still.
putting up,
No.
not good,
no, not legally.
not adequate. Cross at your own risk or that sort of thing.
No, I think,
I'm not aware of.
I think we already took pictures.
yeah, it's,
I mean, I can ask the insurance company if that would be acceptable. And if it is, then we could reopen the bridge with signage. I could ask that
we'll
question.
ask,
Because
but
if we're legally covered by insurance and doesn't run the risk that we knowingly had a risk, I can ask the question. And if if the insurance company says that would still allow us to be covered, then
They won't.
I doubt they will, but I can ask the
I
question.
think that's worthwhile to investigate.
you can ask, it's nothing like that.
And
Okay.
we don't have information if the wood bridge is cheaper. It could be more
It could be a lot
expensive
more
because
expensive.
lumber is so expensive. And And the supply and to get it here,
We have to have it designed.
transportation.
You have to hire an engineer, design it,
Well,
have it built.
They're prefab.
all these companies have in-house design. They've been able to turn them around in a couple days. I did find one company and I can send them, that as far as, we have a couple more companies we've reached out to and one of them was a wood company. Did you happen to do
Yeah,
anything?
actually, I reached out to another one today, at Q, Stockbridge Highway. The problem with the old bridge is whether it's compliant or not is not my call. But for putting railings on it, there's too much deflection. When you walk on it, you feel the thing. So the cost of trying to make that safe would outweigh the cost of replacing the bridge. No, and keep in mind, when you're looking up bridges, it's the span that dictates the cost of something. So that span is what, 28.30, I think, 33.11 outside.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind when you're pricing a bridge, there's no way to support it in the middle, the cost is gonna increase. So I did reach out to another entity today with Versaland, wooden bridges. We're waiting to hear back from them as well. So I can think it's fair to say, you know, I'm trying, Canals is trying to get this thing open, so.
Yeah. We're tag teaming that between the two of us. We're hitting as many companies right now to get as many quotes in as quickly as possible, along with how long. So far, the lowest one is an aluminum with with a quick return time. We'll find out what the wooden is. You know, if we want, we can call a board meeting. If you want me, you know, I guess that's where I need parameters on what to work with. So we know that with an aluminum, we're probably looking at a 4 to 6 week lead time on it. We don't have a quote back from a wooden one yet. So we're speculating a little bit here once we get that back. But I guess, you know, am I bringing it back to the board for a final decision? Are you thinking about what parameters, like if it's going to take more than X weeks for a wooden one?
Ask, what
Yeah.
timeline to get a wood bridge, what timeline would you guys consider to be adequate?
Yesterday.
Okay, so that's pretty much.
I said, no, why don't- I'm fine with the aluminum. I'm fine.
Well, why don't we, I'll make a motion
Yeah,
that we go ahead, give you permission with the 30,000 from the ARPA money to take a few days, to investigate the wooden bridge, stay within the $30,000 budget. And if the wooden bridge is past the 6 weeks or over the 30, just axe it and we'll go with the aluminum bridge.
And what's the difference between the two quotes that you have here? Both from an aesthetic point of view, one's twice the other. It's just,
they're slightly
there's
different.
not a picture of the second one.
So the second one is, the second one, it's very similar, but it's a larger steel. It's sort of a truss-like, it looks more like the Butler Bridge as far as the side pieces that come up. I could send a picture to you. It's just, they design them different to carry the loads, so it depends on how they're doing it.
I see the picture. I'll just go with the motion I made.
The aluminums, they don't look that much different. They're just slightly different designs.
But if we can get the insurance company waiver with a,
Just a company waiver, then we can.
Then we can take our time.
well, I mean, I don't care about taking the time, but I care about, getting them access to, not waiting, but it always says 4 to 6 weeks is always best case. Then you actually order it, and it takes 4 months and the summer's over. It's like, all the supply chain issues that people are having. So I think that a priority should be getting the answer from the insurance company and not just ask them if the sign would do it. What can we do? What is there anything we can do to limit our exposure and open that bridge? Whether it's a sign or,
Yeah, I'll find out what our options are.
Okay. Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Hey, sign articles for town meeting. I'm okay with what we got to sign.
Yeah, did you guys all get your email
I read-
color coded and
Yeah, it was fun.
as in the past, we have had you guys have
Go over.
tweaked a couple in the past, so are all three of you set, Mike? Patrick? Are you fine with the one as assigned?
I would prefer to do the budget one, but just in case we get questions, budget one, I think is 4.
That's Jay.
Jay, he always.
Oh,
they-
well, what is it?
Oh, was it highlighted by one of you guys?
It says Jamie.
Oh, Jamie, that one should be Jay.
I feel like regardless of who is doing it, I don't understand why one of us isn't doing it.
So
Don't they always
tradition?
do it?
It's always been
The finance committee.
finance committee,
For 10 years, maybe, I don't know. I'm just saying, I think,
ever since I can remember.
So much, thank you.
I mean, it's the select board's budget. I don't quite understand why the select board isn't defending this.
That's your guys' call.
I always thought it was historic.
Actually, the final call will come down to the moderator, but yeah, it's his meeting. Once we run it, but to call upon, yeah.
Wait, so this one,
Article 4.
Of course,
so
always.
it isn't mine. So then how do we,
Well, just have you skip one. I apologize for that. If you don't mind, just skip
You can take my
one.
first one if you want. I'll switch.
Want to slide up and do that one? So it'd be Jamie
no, it's fine.
and then
We
you.
don't want to mess it up.
I had asked Teresa to do that because I was working on the one.
Probably seen the J on the shaded. Yeah, that's always been,
I mean, there's been questions that have come up that we've had answers to that, or whatever. I can just speak as a citizen or as a member of the board. I also, as a member of CPC, I wouldn't mind doing the CPC one. I was in all those meetings. If any questions come up there,
is that mine?
I don't know. I'm just saying, it's not mine.
Yeah, yeah. You can have all mine. No, that's fine. You want to do that?
All right, so
I got no issue. Anyone wants to switch a chain? I got no issue. I'll read anything.
So any other ones? Do you want me to broach the subject with, to have you guys do the
I don't care.
board's decision on number 4?
I don't care either.
I think if we historically do that, then we should stick with tradition. That's what the townspeople
Yeah.
will be expecting.
Since I've been here, the finance committee has done 4. So,
And it-
but
and
you're right, it's your guys.
respect to them because they are our advisory board.
Sally Underwood Miller is the advisor. She's the chair of the CPC. We don't have her get up and do CPC. It's just weird. Of course, she's our advisory board. I'm just saying. You know, we got lots and
It's
lots of
not
advisors on here.
advisory.
Why are you talking over me now?
Guys, okay, the last one, 21, did I read that one? Is it? Yeah. Anything else coming up?
Actually, Gary will do that.
Like I say, I
I
thought,
don't think Teresa, I will fix the.
I read that and I said, oh.
Wait, what, 12 is
The last
not you?
one, 21.
What do you?
Oh,
Yeah, that was.
It's just any other business before the moderator reads that
Yeah,
one.
okay,
So I'll fix those 2.
good. I'm.
Get you a new
Thank
one.
you. Thanks, Patrick.
Patrick, I'll put you on the CPC one.
Yeah.
And we're leaving the number 4.
And Jamie is the last one about to do it.
the 19?
And I'll,
The last two,
This-
yeah,
the
we'll have-
Oh, this one isn't mine.
moderator too.
oh no, we have to,
We do that?
Is that mine or Gary's?
I'll double check
I
that.
think town moderator does that,
I think the moderator does the last 2.
those two.
And this one too, you think?
The last two, the moderator does.
I'll double check those and get those corrected ones out to you for what you guys are doing for motion.
And I'd like to talk about the future agenda for a second. Everyone's gone. The advocate we know is Anita for this, so, you know, it can just be between us now. And I guess on the tape, I think we should have a conversation about whether there's public comment at the meetings. And I want to just give you 2 examples. Did Jack reach out to either of the 2 of you? Jack Remley?
For what?
Who's he?
Okay. So Jack is the one who has for weeks been talking to Michael and I about the down pole down by the river. All right. Now, let me just finish mine.
I've been informed on it.
Okay, I know, I'm just saying.
Depends.
And how about Nancy Barrett? Did she reach out to you?
Mm.
Nancy wanted to come in and talk about.
Then they come in, they called Mike. If you want to talk about an issue, call Mike, put it on the warrant, so we know about it, and we can legally discuss it and make a decision. Public comment, they can bring it up, we can listen, we can't comment, we can't vote.
We can
can't make-
comment, we can't
We
vote.
can't make a decision, so it's a waste of
Unless
time.
it's on the agenda.
So-
That's just not true.
It is
Yeah.
true. I just took a class on this.
We're able to have discussions
We
on
can
any
discuss
item.
it, but we can't vote on it.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, Nancy's like 88 years old. And she wanted to come in front of the board and she doesn't know Robert's Rules of Order. And I don't understand why this is the people's meeting. It's like, I don't.
I know what she wants.
Actually,
Put it
time out.
out there.
That's a poor example, Patrick.
Yeah.
Because if she came in and said, I have an issue with this, then you guys would go, we'll place it on the next agenda.
Yeah.
Because you can't take any
Things
action
that can't have to come
or
back
make
in.
any decisions on
Until
what we
it's
could or couldn't
officially-
say.
About whether her, and I, for the record, where her issue was, Matt and Michael dealt with fantastically. That's not the question. The point is that people don't understand what the process is. And if
Then we
somebody wants to
teach
come in,
them.
why can't I just finish the sentence here, Jamie?
you-
We've been here for 30 minutes. What is the hurry to get out of this friggin' meeting every week? Can't we just have a conversation where we're not yelling at each other? I mean, honest to
You're the
God.
one yelling at us.
Look at, just a lot of people sometimes want to reach out to their board. And I just don't understand why we don't let them reach out to the board. And maybe there's a good reason, but you know, they don't understand what our process is because they don't mostly come to meetings.
Then we put it on the website and we put it out there and we discuss like, no, if you got an issue, put it right there in public now.
Oh,
Most of the time, if you have an issue and you want to bring it up, you call the town administrator. 80% of the time, what your issue is, Mike can most likely resolve it and give you the answer you need and take care of it before it comes to the board. If it has to come to the board, we'll put it on the agenda. We know about it. We can study it, look into it before the meeting. And then have the agenda and be able to discuss it publicly and take an action and vote on it. That's the simplest way of doing it. And it gets resolved and it gets done in the proper way without having it brought up at public hearing, public comment. Okay, we'll put it to the next agenda or a certain, and then they all come back in for that meeting a second time. So we can do it all in one meeting. And so most of the time, what they're asking, Mike can resolve it before it even gets to our table.
They can also send it into selectmen@stockbridge-ma.gov.
Do we have this on the website? Actually, Chuck, the explanation you just gave was fantastic. Okay. I think that that's a really reasonable policy for the board to have, but let's put it right on the homepage. All right, let's get it so that people don't, because then end up like everyone says, oh, this not being transparent. I don't like to hear that like about me, and I don't know about you guys, but it sort of ends up, we get criticized because people can't speak. And now if we have a policy, I can just point them to the homepage and say, here's what the policy is. It's really simple to follow. Because,
But I know as far as transparent, there's a lot of other boards that place public speak either at the beginning or end and don't allow, in order for the board to get through its business, they don't allow comments during specific articles, which means you have to come in and speak either at the beginning or end, either after the decision or before the decision. And you can see some really good examples of why that isn't the best format.
it's not a choice. We can do it either way. I mean, we can do it both.
Any way you can do it, a good format, I should say, not the best, a good format is allowing speak on every one. But a lot of boards do it just to avoid the time. You guys allow public speak during every, that would have meant they would have had to, like tonight, they would have had to speak before we presented anything. They would have had to speak.
No, but we don't have to do that or this. We could do either one, but I'd like Chuck's explanation. And what he just said is perfect. Let's just get it so that people understand what the process
I'll
is.
work to put it right on the front page. If you
I
want
love
us to
it.
take up an issue,
I
here's
love
the
it.
process.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I move that we go into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with the DPW union, and the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining of a public hearing, and will not be coming back into open session.
So we're not voting on this tonight?
Collective bargainings are the only ones you can vote in. You have to vote in executive session.
I'm voting tonight.
Okay, thank you. So I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, Patrick.
I'll vote, right?
Yeah, roll call.
I Chuck.
Aye, Jamie.
Meeting adjourned.